Hey, and thanks for joining us on this week's episode of For All Things Lexington, the only show dedicated to Lexington, South Carolina, and where a spade is always a spade. Here we'll talk to and about people, places, groups, things to do, and places to go in and around Lexington, South Carolina. I'm your host, Angela Barrett, and this is For All Things Lexington. All right, guys, as promised, I have with me Ryan Taylor. Thanks for being here.
And an absolute pleasure to be with you again.
You know what? I hear something in the background. I know what it is. Hang on one second.
It's always something.
It's my little heater because it's cold and I'm already tired of being cold. And it's what? Just January.
Just January.
16th actually. And I'm already tired of being cold, and I understand this week and next week is going to get worse.
I know if you listen to the amateur weathermen on any of your social platforms, they will scare the death out of you. That's right.
There is one guy and I can't remember his name right now, that I follow, and he has some pretty good information. He says, please note, I have not mentioned the S word. And I don't think he's talking about what we mostly think about, but yeah, no, he's like not even bringing it up yet.
Yeah, well, as a Colorado kid, I left when I was in my early 20s. Yeah, I'm good with it. Let's go.
Yeah, well, if it's going to be good,
all day long.
Yeah, please let it snow. If it's not going to be, if we're not going to have snow, then the North needs to come take this crap back because I don't like the cold unless there is white stuff on the ground. So give me some wins since we've talked last. The last time we talked was June of 23. You're actually episode number 9. Very early on in this podcast. So tell me what's been going on since then.
Well, June of 23, it was only a year and a half ago. I think most of us can agree it feels like 5 years ago. I don't know why. They say just you get older, time starts flying faster, and I guess I'm following that category. So time does fly. Yeah, a lot's happened. So the joy is, for those that don't remember, then not that I think you should, I get the great joy and honor of running the Nancy K. Perry Children's Shelter here in Lexington County. It has been established since 1972. We house kids that have been removed from the home by family courts. And we provide a 14-bed shelter. We've been in the community for, like I said, 50 years. The support we get from Lexington County and the community is incredible. Lexington Medical Center's one that supports us. Lexington County supports us. If I feel like if I go any further than that, Mount Horeb, Global Methodist Church supports us. If I go any further than that, I'm going to feel like I'm going to miss somebody.
Sure.
We get blessed, anywhere from, private donations, anywhere from $5 to $20,000. So, I say that only to say to the Lexington community, they are fantastic. And the only way we're able to continue to do what we do is folks like that help support kids in foster care, that definitely didn't ask to be in their boat, that they're in. But, our mission and vision is that we provide a safe, nurturing style environment so that kids can heal and grow. Because really we believe that every child can be successful if the right environment's created. And we seek to create that environment not only in our shelter, by providing a family style environment and really just giving these kids a childhood that they didn't have before, free of risk, free of unsafe conditions, whether that be physical abuse, verbal abuse, neglect. We just allow them to be kids. But you asked what's happened since June of 23. We say a lot. We've added actually 2 new programs. We've actually added a brief strategic family therapy program, which is an outpatient family therapy that we provide to families that are at risk for losing their kids. So these are families that have had some type of report or incident that has occurred, and they and we'll go in and work and partner with them and do family therapy with the family as a whole. Hopefully we can keep those kids in the home and not have them brought into foster care. And that's kind of a preventative service that we've started as well. And it's had some great success. We only serve Lexington County with that. We actually are expanding into Sumter County with that program because there's a need there as well. So that's definitely a benefit there. We've also added a case management program as well. That's to help families that lack resources and direction, and hopefully we can get with them, hook them up with the resources they need, whether that be additional family therapy, community resources, partnering with, for example, like pest control, heating and cooling, companies and organizations, and getting them the resources they need so they can have a safe, nurturing style environment in their own home. So we've added those two programs in the last year and a half, and it's felt like fun.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. So the last time you and I were together, you had mentioned something, and maybe this just hasn't come to fruition yet, about the mentor program. Because let's back up. First of all, the earliest age that y'all take children is it 13?
12.
12. Okay.
12. Yeah.
12.
We're actually 12. And one of the things I think we've done in the last year or two is we've upped our age limit from 18 to 19. And the reason we've done that is to, again, meet a need for kids that are obviously the kids that struggle with the kind of stuff our kids struggle with. School is not of the, I wasn't going to say the highest priority, but there definitely is when you're struggling to meet other needs, getting a good education is not top priority. So they've either fallen behind or they're not engaged, and it's taken a little bit longer for them to get through school or finish their GED. So we actually, we had several kids when I first started that were 18, and we had to find other placement for, because they turned 18, and then their school was disrupted, or we had to do extra work on the back end. So we actually upped our highest age to 19 so that we can serve those kids. They can finish high school, finish their GED program, and we can launch them into society with some more success than what they would have without it. So,
right.
Yeah.
So again, the last time that you and I talked, there was some talk about a mentor program for those children that once they have to leave y'all's facility, that they have contact with someone else outside to help them, if do nothing more than go to lunch, happy birthday, you got somewhere to go for Thanksgiving, you got somewhere to go for Christmas, things of that nature. How's that going? Because I'm kind of excited about that one.
Yeah, we have linked up some of our 18 and 19-year-olds with community members. It is not it's not something we've promoted. We've been able to meet the need verbally, with just folks that have been interested. It still is.
You have two more that want to join this, so don't mess that afterwards.
Yes. It is something we have not really pushed it with all the other programs that we've had to do, that we've had the opportunity to do and meet that need there. We've been able to link our high school kids with some folks in the community without really pushing it as a huge agenda. So
gotcha.
So
because again, these kids are in regular school and playing regular sports, and so y'all have a lot going on over there as far as a daily schedule. Because how many do you have right now?
We have, of course, with Christmas and everything else and the holidays, we have 5 right now. We're licensed for 14. Really with well, the history to this is that we were licensed for 14 when we were able to take little kids. And for years we took everything from infants to 18. Unfortunately, the way the DSS's work, Family First Act, has been implemented, group care is looking to take care of more 12 to 18. And that's really the needs that we've met. I joke all the time, it was a lot easier to manage and be able to work with behaviors when you can count to three, and then kids would listen at the three. With teenagers, middle school and high school kids, you start counting to three, they'll tell you you're number one. It doesn't work as well. So really, even though we're licensed for 14, our max is probably about 10. Just because we do want to provide these kids, when we say family style, and a kid-like environment, I really truly mean I want to give these kids a childhood. I want them to participate in sports. We want them to be a part of band. We want them to do extracurricular activities outside the school. We want them to be a part of church group. We want them to be able to visit with their friends and be safe doing so. And with that, for parents that have or have had teenagers, that takes a lot more effort to do when having 14 do 14 different sporting events is difficult. So 10 is probably the max. And we got 5 right now, which is a lower number than we normally have.
Which in your world, that's not a bad thing.
No, that's not. The other side of that is we still got budgets to make. So that's we're in it to provide the service to kids that need it, and there's kids that need it. We just gotta be able to, and it's a balance when you bring new kids into a milieu or an environment that is already established by 4 or 5 kids. You can have one kid make it great, even greater, or you can have one kid that just ruins it.
Sure.
And that's a balance. That's the backside of the job that not a lot of people realize is, we've got to be picky about who we're allowed, who we serve. Even though we know they need it, we also have 4 or 5 other kids, 6 other kids that are doing well, that have made progress, that we have to protect their growth and their success as well.
Right.
So,
and comparing children to dogs, but if you think about it and you have a Chihuahua, well, the likelihood of you bringing a Rottweiler into your home is slim to none, because those two are not going to get along. They're both very headstrong, but very much different sizes.
Yeah, behavior is still behavior. So it's a balance, and it's a challenge sometimes, because we do want to serve everybody we can. It just doesn't always work. So
right. So now, do y'all have any, I know that you have volunteer positions there and those things. Is there any big event or any sort of fundraising thing that y'all have got coming up, that if people wanted to get involved, is there anything like that going on right now? I know we just had the holidays and it's kind of
The holidays is probably our biggest one. I hope everybody that listens to this had received one of our fall mail outs in their mail. Hopefully everybody responded to that. But that is one of our biggest fundraisers throughout the year. That really helps us to offset our operation budget. I mean, you can imagine what it is, even the grocery bill for 5, 10 kids. And that, I chuckle because you always hear the inflation numbers. Well, I look at our budget and what we spent 5 years ago to what we're spending now, and it's 35 to 40% more just in groceries.
Sure.
So, and these kids don't care about inflation. So they still want to eat out. They still want to, be kids. Go to amusement parks, go to the zoo, go on beach trips. And we want to provide that no matter what. Because again, the old adage is you're only a kid once.
That's right.
And hopefully you carry it on for the rest of your life, but you're only a kid once, and we want to provide them the opportunities not only work opportunities, school opportunities, but we want to provide them entertainment opportunities as well.
Right.
Having that beach trip that they may never have had. Being able to go to the zoo, Carowinds, other sporting events, stuff like that. So, yeah, the fall mail out definitely helps us offset that cost. That's a huge blessing that community answers. We have golf tournament in the work. We have a 5K in the work that we're looking to do. And then the other one, we did a car show last year or 2 years ago in the I believe in the fall. We're talking about maybe doing one again. Timing didn't work out this year. But yeah, so we definitely our website and our Instagram and all the social media accounts is definitely, we're going to keep track of all that. As far as volunteers are concerned, we have the great joy of, we partner with many of churches, and I dare not start listing, but I will guarantee you I win this one.
So bad.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. But we have so many blessings from church groups that come support us, businesses that come do projects around the area, around the facility, to help, maintain the facility, paint, help with landscaping, and so forth. Yeah, we've been blessed. I think the business groups are probably the ones that help us out the best because they can come in and do those big projects for us. And if you're head of HR, or take it to your HR. It's a great work event to bring folks together and for a good purpose and help us maintain the facility and help these kids out. And I think it's a joy when businesses come because they can see the work culture, they can see the camaraderie there are between coworkers, and it's not the fast food kind of thing. It's truly working towards, hey, I want to work for that company because they do this together and they help out and they look like they have fun. And that really helps the kids out to see something to shoot for and something to work towards, not just, working at a fast food restaurant behind the counter.
Right. Yeah, because I think the last time we were together, and I don't know if they were painting a shed or they had built you a shed for some of the storage from some of the overflow.
Yep.
But it was some of that, and I don't remember which business was doing it for you, but that was going on the last time I think we were together.
Yeah, actually, again, that feels like 5 years ago. Well, that was Southeastern Freight that built us 2 sheds. And forgive me if I get this wrong. Necron, the steel company, did I say his name? Yeah, they just came out and built us a huge fire pit.
Oh, nice.
They built a beautiful metal. You find it on our Facebook or Instagram. Beautiful metal fire pit. They purchased us some Adirondack chairs and some metal benches. So that was a huge blessing as well. So the companies like those are great volunteer opportunities for not only the work group themselves, but for our kids as well in our shelter.
Yeah, that's great. So a lot of s'mores, I'm imagining, has been my favorite.
And for me, it's a blessing and a headache all at the same time because telling teenagers to play with fire and making sure does everything. It's like, geez, okay,
Sure, I get it.
As parents, you always want to just put bubble wrap around your kids and never allow them to do anything. Of course, then they don't get the childhood they want. So there's a give and take.
That's right. And then, you get it to that stage of life, and I'm there, where now you need bubble wrap for your parents. I'm there.
Yeah.
So the tide has now gone flip.
Yeah. Mine are still going 100 miles an hour, and I don't know if I could catch them long enough to flip wrap around. So
So speaking of being kids forever, let's talk about you and your Jeep. I'm going to say obsession, and your wife would probably agree, but it's really not an obsession. It really is a thing, being a Jeepster, or at least was. My son has mine now, but yeah, it's all good. But you have even expanded your Jeep world, and now you have a podcast yourself called Off-Road Campfire podcast, right?
Yeah.
And it really is around Jeeps, right?
It really is. So we all have to have outlets beyond business. And that is truly my stress reliever. Growing up in Colorado, it's, off-roading was 5 miles beyond city limits. Fortunately, it's not like that here. But you can go get in trouble in the backcountry in Colorado, anywhere you want, anytime you want. And, it was a great passion I grew up with. And I'm just it's been my therapy ever since, being behind a wheel, four-wheeling. Heck, I would take driving down a dirt road some days because that's all I get. But that is definitely my therapy and my passion. I started the Off-Road Campfire podcast with a buddy of mine that I grew up in Colorado with, who now works at Ruben Trucks, which is a off-road company in Boone, North Carolina. And I was like, hey man, let's just do this. I don't know, it was fun. It was a way to and we're not looking to do anything with it. It really for us is making connections, learning about businesses, learning about people. And if you're not shocked, that's why I do what I do for a living in the Nancy K. Perry Children's Shelter, because it's about learning about people and helping people grow. And that's really what we want to do with the podcast, just learn the stories that don't get told in the off-road world. Instagram's great and Facebook's great at, promoting that kind of stuff, but it never gets to the real stories and the real intimacy in relationship building. So we started the podcast. I joined another guy on his for a while, got a feel for it. And I said, hey, let's do this. So we started the end of last year, small issues, a small hurricane that rolled through and pretty much took out Western North Carolina.
Right.
That was been a small issue, as with Clinton being up in Boone area. That set us back a few weeks, and of course, Christmas and the holidays. And it's a lot of work to do a podcast.
Yes, it is. People don't realize we need to have that story one day.
Jane, Greg, it is a lot of work.
It is.
And and I don't do a lot of editing on mine just because I like them raw, and it really is just putting an intro and an exit video in the front, but it takes a lot of effort and work. And,
it does. Well on my hours.
Yeah, when you got 3 kids, a Jeep toy already, you're running a shelter. That tends to take a back seat, but it's a fun endeavor. We've had
location.
You will. We haven't yet. There are some guys that are probably coming on that I've run up there. We've had Grade A Tops here, which is an organization here in Lexington that makes Jeep covers and Jeep tops. We've had him on. We've had some guys I grew up with that are big into competitive rock crawling. We've had Windrock Off-Road Park, which is in Oliver Springs, Tennessee, which is one of the biggest off-road parks on the East Coast. They were great. Learning about their organization. So we've had FBK Off-Road, which is in Myrtle Beach. We've had the joy to have him on. That episode comes out whenever I get it edited. It's like 2 weeks ago, but again, time management is sometimes difficult. But yeah, it's been a joy to do that. It's kind of been my outlet, just to have fun. And of course, you're right. My wife looks at me and be like, "Are you ever going to get paid for this?" Probably not.
No,
Probably not. It's just Like, why do you do this to yourself? I was like, I don't know. Come on. Don't feel very
Podcast and, and a real job. It's like, whew, what was I thinking?
Yeah, I don't sit still really well. So, yeah, I think the last, what was it, Friday when we had the quote, first snowstorm of the year?
All 4 flakes.
all 1 hour of snowing. She joked with me because I think we watched like 2 movies, and she's like, you sat down for 4 hours and watched 2 movies with me. And I was like, well, that might be few and far between coming soon. So,
Right.
Yeah, I don't sit down very much. So.
Yeah, I know the feeling. In fact, as soon as you and I are done here, I'm meeting a real estate agent over at a new development. We're going to do some more filming. I'm like, okay, at some point in time, I got to, get this. It may or may not get done, but I know how you feel. But it's a lot of fun, and I know you probably feel the same way I do. I love people, and I love to talk. That's how I got into this mess. And you meet some of the most wonderful people doing this, and I mean, really meet them.
Yeah, and and I think that's what I've been in the the joy about running a nonprofit and doing a podcast. On the nonprofit side, I get to people tell you stories that you would have never known about folks. One of the things we had, I don't know why they came. Oh, they came by to drop off food. I don't remember I don't remember what organization it was, but the guys that were coming by to drop off food, there was 4 guys in the truck, and as they were pulling out, I stopped them. I said, "Hey, thanks. We truly appreciate it." It was like Thanksgiving a few years ago, and the guy in the passenger seat said, "I didn't know where we were going until I pulled down the driveway." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And not knowing really what he meant, he was like, "I used to live here." I was like, "No way." And
holy cow,
he just tells you the story about when you lived here and why and so forth. And that is one of those things, like, you don't realize what you're doing and the stories you're going to create in somebody, and you may never know. I often tell my staff, we are not harvesters. We are seed planters. Our job is to plant seeds as deep and as fast as we can and nurture that seed until that child moves on, goes somewhere else, is discharged, grows up, whatever. We may never see the crop grow.
Right.
And every once in a while, you may be able to turn around and see a crop, and that you hang your hat on that crop, and you keep moving on, because they're few and far between. But hearing stories like that, we've had several times people stop by and say, "Oh, my handprint is on the wall back there. Can I go see it? Or does so-and-so still work here?" And we had a kiddo that came by out of the blue a few months ago, and she wasn't that far out. She was there when I was there, and most of her staff was there. But she had gotten herself a job. She's in college. She's making a way for herself, has her own place, and those are great. She wasn't with us but 6-7 months. But again, what impact were we able to make on her life that she was able to make a better decision over where she came from to help better her life. And my hope is for all the kids that we serve, that whatever pinnacle moment that they have in their lives, they're able to look back and go, do I want the lifestyle I grew up with, or do I want the lifestyle I had at Nancy K. Perry?
Right.
And you hope that that's the thought, and they get the opportunity to compare those two and go, I want what I had at Nancy K. Perry, and this is what I got to do to get it.
Yeah.
And that's
a great program. It's and we're blessed to have it here in Lexington, and you as the director, because you, again, don't sit down and you're a go-getter. And I've enjoyed follow the Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. And it's always it's fun, like I think recently, I guess y'all had the Christmas party there, and
oh yeah,
it was
that was a joy, just to get the staff together and get them unplugged for a minute. and get them just to enjoy, because it's a lot of hard work, a lot of sometimes difficult conversations and frustrations, but there's a lot of joy to it as well. So just to get them to unplug and really thank them. I joke, I don't do a darn thing. I mean, my staff is absolutely incredible. We've had some turnover and some leadership on a good part. We had some folks move on and want to pursue other growth opportunities. So we've had some turnover, but in a good way. We have a great business HR manager, and we have an individual that runs the outside now. She's had years of experience with DSS in their licensing department and so forth. She's fantastic. And our admin, or our admin assistant she runs the show. It's one of those people. Well, there's not a person I can't do this without. So they're all great. To put one over the other is I can't run the show without. We can't do what we can do without any of them. So they're fantastic folks. And
well, that's great.
Our clinical director, she's been intricate in running these programs, propping them up, and building capacity for them, working with DSS, working with the other stakeholders that we have, promoting them, and really training our staff. And like I said, it is not a me show. It is a them show, and they have a heart and a passion for this, and it is incredible to watch them work and the growth that they've been able to help Nancy K. Perry have.
Yeah, again, if nobody's been on go to the website or the Facebook page, probably like everybody else's business, that's the most up to date. So.
It is. And the unfortunate part is we don't nearly put as much as we should on there.
Yeah.
We could probably celebrate something every day. Yeah. And it's unfortunate we don't ever get to highlight everything. And
Sure.
We wish we could, but it would be too much. But there's always, they're great. They're great. The kids work hard. We got one going to, a band competition in New York in a few months. So we've had, and again, we've had a community church help us raise funds for that. And they paid that in full for her to go on that trip. So it's, watching these kids grow and just have a childhood and be able to express themselves and work through their challenges and yet find success it's a community, it's a staff, it's a village kind of mentality to make that happen. And it's an utter blessing.
Yeah. It's always such a pleasure to hear from you and to find out everything that's going on and how well you guys do. 'Cause you're all dealing with teenage emotion every day, and multiply that, right now by 5, but you've had more. That's a lot.
So, and Mary, it's life as a teenager is not what it used to be. When we were at school, at 3:30, I got to ditch my bullies and the people that aggravated me, and I had to deal with you till tomorrow morning at 8. Now life is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't matter. You're always vulnerable. And not only do you have to deal with that as a regular teenager, but then you deal with the stresses of abuse, neglect, not being in your own home, wherever your parents are, whatever challenges they have. These kids carry a lot, and they do a lot of hard work to work through that and overcome that.
Yeah. Well, again, we are blessed here in Lexington to have you guys here and have that program, because it's a great program. And, one of those prouder moments for us in Lexington is having you right there. So I appreciate that, from me and a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks so much for being with me again. We'll have to do it again sometime. And you have a wonderful day and stay warm.
We'll do it. You guys stay warm as well. And it's, like I said, this has been an absolute pleasure. It's a joy to be able to talk with you and reach out to your listeners and viewers. So it's great to be a part of this with you. Call us anytime. We'd love to be on it.
Absolutely. And thanks so much.
Angela, thank you. Be blessed.
Thanks for hanging out with us today, and we hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or have a person, business, idea, an event that Lexington needs to know more about, email me, local@forallthingslexington.com. That's the number 4, y'all.